And welcome to the Keep Going podcast. We got a special treat today. We got Sari Dival all the way from Southern California. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Dap me up or something. Show me some
we
love.
Gotta do something,
Anyways, so she's the culinary CMO, serial entrepreneur, and a badass mom. She's a mamapreneur. That's what you are, right?
I'll take it. My best title to date. Yes.
See, I got you. See? Anyways, let's get into that. So you've had amazing story. I want to kind of get to how this all came about. So just a quick background about yourself, you know, how you grew up, and then how you kind of got that entrepreneur journey started.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Cyprus. Cyprus. My dad was a fireman. My mom was a realtor. We had a lot of fun. We always worked hard and played hard, even as kids. Like we were just like, okay. I always had kind of that entrepreneurial like kind of spirit. My mom was, she hustled. My dad hustled. So it was always like when we were ready to go play, like you worked hard so you could go play. So it was like really fun. I always loved business. I was always fascinated by it. I always, you know, I fell in love with restaurants probably at an early age. Like there's pictures of me like literally like mixing sugar packets together with creamers like at restaurants. It's like so weird, but it was just always something that I wanted to do. In high school, I got involved in the culinary programs and I loved it. And then I just kind of kept going from there. Like I never really got into any other business except for restaurants. Like I was fascinated with all the intricacies, just everything about it. I was like fascinated by it.
100%. So like, quick question. Were you a Girl Scout growing up?
I was for like a year.
I don't know. I just feel like I was like, I wonder if she was a Girl Scout.
I was. For like
or
a
did
year.
you like run a lemonade stand?
There was lemonade stands. I remember selling rocks one time. I remember polishing quarters and like selling shiny quarters. Like I don't.
That's a thing?
No, it wasn't. But I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna try this. Like I remember all of that. And then I remember like I was always really good at like persuading people. Like if like friends wanted to do something, I was like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're gonna start here. We're gonna go here. Like I love to like plan things. I love to like detail things. So I think sales kind of came naturally that way, or like kind of like being able to persuade people. And it just like I didn't try to do it. I wasn't like planning to do it, but I was just able to do it. And so it was.
Are your kiddos like that?
My daughter is, My son is too. He's kind of, I mean, he's 14, so he's like a teenager, you know, but my daughter very much is. Like, she's just like, I'd like to have a bonfire. And then like, before I know it, like I have parents reaching out to me like, are we doing a bonfire? I was like, holy crap, like how did that happen? But
assumes the clothes.
Yeah, and she's telling everyone what to bring. And like, I was like, oh, okay, there's that. Like, this looks familiar to me. Yeah.
Well, you know where she got it from.
Totally.
And then is your husband also an entrepreneur?
He's a musician.
Oh, okay.
So he's done music his whole life. So he's toured, he's done audio engineering.
That's how he got you.
I was like, this is something I don't know anything about. So it's probably the one industry I know the least about. So I was like, okay, I want to know more. So I'll marry you.
You know what? That's how it happened. Way to close. He closed the deal then. But with that being said, so you're the culinary CMO. What does that even mean? What does that mean?
So the chief marketing officer is a CMO. So it's usually a title awarded to like an incredibly huge corporation, right? And so restaurants, one of the things that we do, like as an operator of a restaurant, the one thing that you promise is that the ultimate guest experience, like the last thing you want to worry about is marketing. And as being an operator for 20 years, I know exactly what that means. I've owned restaurants, I've been partner in restaurant, I've operated restaurants. So it's just like, okay, cool. We're there 12 hours before we even open the door. So it's like the thought of doing a fun TikTok dance or then going on Pinterest and writing out recipes. Like it's just so far not what we want to do. And so it was really during COVID that kind of when everyone was breaking off into, you know, I was calling people who I knew were lawyers and I was like, what does this mean? I don't know what this means. You have to explain it to me. And they were like, okay, hop on a webinar with like your friends, you know? And so we were going to our lawyer friends. Shipping was kind of the same thing. Like, I can't get my bowls, like all this type of stuff. And so people were coming to me and they were like, hey, like we need help marketing. We're open today. We're closed tomorrow. We don't know what the governor's going to do. So like, if I have to sit on this food, I'm toast, right? And so I just started marketing for several different restaurant concepts. And I really fell into, this is what I love to do. Like, this is what I want to do, because my whole goal is really to help restaurants, because I know it sounds really, really corny, but it's like, I love restaurants, and like people who are in restaurants, we're a different breed. Like who wants to go to work for 12 hours a day and then serve people? We work nights, weekends, holidays. Like, what is wrong with us, right? Yeah. But it's like, I know how to work with them. And so I am one of them, right? And so we had always entitled these really big shit agencies that, had worked with like all the titans in the industry, and they never really got us. They knew marketing, but they didn't know restaurants. And so I had always overseen marketing. I had always worked with these big agencies, and I've always done marketing. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to take a step out. I'm going to just do this. And it's like a dream come true. Like, I'm like, holy crap, I get to work with all these incredible creative personalities, chefs, GMs, operators, director of ops, owners. Yeah. And I'm just like, I want to like pour into them like all of the marketing specialties that I have, because it's how much like I love the industry. You love it. You're like in it to win it. I am a lifer. It's like, every once in a while I'm like, I'm going to try to doubt. And I'm like, nope, I can't. Like, this is what I love. It's like, I always tell everyone, I'm like, I don't know how to do that, but I can cook a steak. Like, I'm good. Like, medium rare? Rare to medium rare. Maybe black and blue, I'm just saying. From Wisconsin. I want that medium rare. Good beef. What I was going to say is, so you have your culinary CMO business that you leveraged that during COVID really well. And then now, kind of where are you at in regards to, are you still helping multiple restaurants? You honing in on particular restaurants in Orange County? Are you expanding? Like, I'm pretty much everywhere. So I get a lot of calls nationwide, and some of them I can take, some of them I can't. Yeah. And if not, I always try to partner them up with somebody who I know can help them. Like if you just want a pre-opening blitz, I can certainly help you, but that's very specialized and very localized. So I'll try to connect them with somebody who I know in their state or their county. But yeah, I have Atlanta, I have Arizona, Washington, possibly a few in Tennessee. So there's just a lot of stuff. North Carolina is coming up soon with one of the concepts that I support. So I have about 13 different concepts that I'm representing right now, and I could not be happier. Like going into work, meeting these owners who are just like so passionate, and they're owner operators, so they're just so passionate about what they do, and then being able to tell their story. I don't change it. I may prime it for publication type of thing. I may prime it to be marketing specific, but it's their story to tell. It's their food to do. Right. So it's as long as I can scream that from the rooftops and make like a brand awareness, that's my goal. I'm like, I could dork out on this all day. Like, tell me to stop talking. You're like, we got a time limit. Come on. You're good. So like when you're talking about all these different locations, you have a strong network. How did you build a strong network? I've just always been in the industry. Yeah. So I've always been available. People call me. Even if I didn't work for them, they're like, hey, we need extra hands. I'm like, I'm there. I'm your girl. Like, don't even worry about it. We've got into music festivals just because of doing work and doing that type of stuff. And then they reach out to me for new concepts, and then I'm able to developers are like, hey, we're building this location here. Do you have any concepts that want to go into it? Like, it's really crazy, but I've always been in the industry, and I've always been available. Like, I've never, disowned the industry. I've always spoken highly of it, and I do really, as you can tell, love it. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, I've always been in it. I've always been a positive force in it, I hope. So I think people just I think my name hopefully is out there in the industry. 100%. So when you say your name is out in the industry, no one can say it because it's hard to say, but they try. There's a lot of things that go into that, and we were talking about all the connections you have and the network you have. How important is it to have a strong network of women around you? 100%. Like it is. So our industry is a male-dominated industry, although there's... Do you know any stats on that? No. I wish I did, but I could tell you it's 99% men, 1% women. No, but it's, once you get into specialized fields, you start to see more women, but women operators are just badasses. Yeah. I just think that women in this industry, like, it's really interesting, right? It's really easy to be a bitch. It's really easy to do that, right? I have always respected women, and I always see people who, you could be a direct competitor. Like, even some of my competitors, I'm just like, hey, I can't take this. Here you go. Like, is there anything I can do to help you to sink this deal, And it's always like, support and lifting each other up is really what I see as a badass entrepreneur, especially as a female, because it's easy to just be like, oh, no. And I think that's just like a cop out. And I think it's a defense mechanism. And I think it's so much harder to actually come out into this industry and just be like, okay, like you're a badass. Like you do a great job. Of course, there's going to be things that maybe like, can change or something like that. But I also am a very strong component of like a conversation can probably solve most of the issues instead of like brewing and getting all that started, which is kind of like natural, just catty. And I'm not saying women do it, like men and women do it. But it's something that I think that just sitting down and having a conversation and be like, hey, I need you to step up in this way. Yeah. Like, how can I help you get there? Like, I think a lot can be solved that way.
Effective communication.
I just feel like so many people want to just blindside everyone because they don't want that uncomfortableness. It's one thing that I learned at working in hotels. It was just like almost like a coach and counsel. Like, you have to talk some really awkward conversations. Yeah. And so just break down those barriers. Just be, hey, you think I suck at this? Like, tell me why so I can adjust it. Like, I think I'm doing a great job, but I'm not here to defend that. I want to do what you need me to do for you.
Right.
And I think with female entrepreneurs, again, I think it's just so easy to be a bitch and just be like.
I was going to bring up a point. What's your number one tip to not have the need to be offended for somebody?
Be open to it. There's a really corny saying that the hotels taught me. It's not corny. Nobody come after me, but it's not corny, but it's called feedback is a gift. Like if you just get that, like it's not a chip off your shoulder, but like this defense mechanism that everyone's like, hey, maybe you would look, maybe black isn't your color. Maybe green would be a good thing. And it's like, oh, well, he or she thinks that I don't look good in black. I'm gonna F her. And it's like, just put that aside. Just be open to it and be like, when people give you feedback or criticism, I get plenty of it. And I'm just like, okay, well, how could I do that differently? Right. Sometimes I'm like, I don't really agree, but that's okay. And then other times I'm like, oh, wow, I really didn't see myself that way, but that's rad that someone brought that to my attention. Yeah. Because I definitely don't want to be perceived that way.
So like you believe wholeheartedly in constructive criticism?
100%. I just don't think like, I don't know if it's like the keyboard warriors or what it is within the culture currently, but it's like we don't know how to accept things sometimes. And it's just like, or we just lash out because we can and nobody has to take any like accountability for it, right? But like if you can be like, hey, this is what I think and why, and let's have a conversation about it.
Right.
Cool.
But they're not open to conversations, or is it just more?
I don't think so. I don't know. It just seems weird. Like everyone's just so much more happy to blindside you and then be gone. And it's just like, wow, that didn't need to be that dramatic.
Like especially 2025, like nowadays, people are really strong spoken behind a phone or a keyboard.
Totally. Yes. And it's really like, I think it takes so much more, pardon my French, but it takes balls to like go up to someone and be like, hey, this is what I really need from you. And I think like management does that very well, especially effective management does that very well. But I think just in day to day, like people don't do it anymore. Yeah. And it's like, what, can we get back to that? Because that was rad when and I have people who surround me. I have like the best village. Like I just absolutely, whether it's friends, my husband, family, like they're, I have a rad village behind me. But
when you say you have a village behind you, is that derived from the saying it takes a village? Or
100%.
Okay. Yeah, my grandma would say that to me. I was like, wait. Okay.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, you need. I don't know.
I got you. How do you build your village?
I think the village just kind of comes naturally. I think you find your village, really. Like, I don't think I build it. I think it found me, type of thing. I have really rad people behind me, both in work and play, both in family. And so I think that's probably a huge portion of my success is just being able to, some of my favorite mentors I've worked with for 25 years. Yeah. And so, I can call them when I had this crazy idea of, branching out and, everyone was like, you're a partner in a restaurant group. Like, why would you even start to fuck with that? And I'm like, well, I just kind of feel like I can help more people if I do this. And so, sitting him down to lunch and kind of talking with him, and he was like, absolutely, start tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And so I did.
Just had a conversation.
Yeah, it was just a conversation. I was like, hey, I have this idea. And he could have told me I'm crazy. A couple people did. Like, dude, you have everything you've ever wanted to work for. And I'm like, I want to go a little more. Yeah. I want to do a little more. I want to help more people. And again, I know that sounds silly, but it's like, that's
Oh, I like it. It doesn't sound silly to me.
See?
But when you're talking about being a female in this industry,
Mm-hmm.
how important is it to surround yourself with other females, having mentors, having friends that are in this industry? Like what does that mean?
Again, surround yourself with a village, like surround yourself with people who are willing to ask you questions, surround yourself with, I often tell people that like I'm teaching, like I'll always say like, walk in and be okay with being the stupidest person in the room.
Yeah.
Like I do that all the time, especially about different topics. Business, when you get into like investing or moving money, like all this type of stuff. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, like tell me more, ask questions. Don't assume that you know everything. Like it's okay to say, oh, cool. Or, you know, I was with somebody a couple months ago who grew a business from like 1 to 200 units. And it was like, okay, well, tell me how you did that. Like, you know, maybe it was just luck and you can tell me that, but it wasn't. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And some of the mistakes they made, when they shared with me, I was like, wow, that's really valuable to know because I didn't know that that could happen. And being aware of it now, I can look for it. So I think just being able to be like females in general, like I think a lot of them have to come in, or they feel they have to come in and just be like this badass right off the, you know, this is what I think and this is how I'm going to think you do it. And it's like, no, it's okay. You can still be feminine. You can still be soft. You can still be this person. And then, you know, I have this eyebrow that goes up and everyone's like, oh God, when she doesn't like something, the eyebrow goes up. And I'm like, no. I'm like trying it. But
zoom in on the eyebrow.
No, I can't do it. But it's like, it's funny because it's been the topic of roundtables and people who really know me, they're like, oh, like you could be reading a sheet of paper and as soon as you hate something, like that eyebrow goes up. I'm like, I don't even notice I do it. And I'm always open to like saying my own thoughts too. Like, you know, questioning someone on something stupid like food costs. Like, it doesn't look right to me. But if a chef says, absolutely, 100%, this is what commodities cost, I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to be offensive to you. I just don't think that that's what it is.
Just trying to make it the best situation possible.
100%. Like, and I really do, my biggest pet peeve is wasting time. Like, I just cannot stand it. And sometimes when people...
if you don't believe in like wasting time, do you do meetings? Do you phone calls? Like how do you know what I'm saying?
I'm a big fan of just calling. Like I don't think we need to plan a meeting. I don't think we need a Zoom, but hey, I'm going to call you and be like, hey Keaton, I need to know like on this date, what's going live and how you're going to do it. I do love emails because I'll go back to emails and always refresh myself on dates and timelines and those types of things. But I mean, meetings, they work. But a lot of times once you get too many people in a meeting, and then if you exclude people from a meeting, they're like, why wasn't I included in a meeting? And then I was like, we don't need meetings about meetings about meetings. Like, let's just get in, let's do an hour, let's be efficient, knock everything out, and then go and keep moving.
Here's a clip for social media. What's your number one tip to be efficient in business?
Organization. Always organization. Whether it's timelines, whether it's deadlines, whether it's what you need and when. There's something they use in construction all the time. Steve, shout out to you. But critical path. Like there's a critical path to get everywhere. So whether it's like, in our industry, it's recipes, and then we have to shoot it, and then we have to launch it, and then we have to educate the staff, and then we need to program the computers, and then we need to do all these things, right? So there's a critical path to kind of get anywhere. So I think know your critical path and just follow it. Like it doesn't very often change. So most of the stuff that we do is very predictive. So it's like, and it's very cyclical. It goes by every year because we play off of holidays and that type of stuff. So it's just like organize. This is a lot longer than a social media bite.
No, I don't care.
But the one thing is like what we do at the Culinary CMO is we'll try to like organize 90% of your marketing, because then that way your 10% ad hoc doesn't throw us into a tailspin. Like it's like, okay, we're ready because everything else is organized. We know exactly the critical path to get there, because the restaurant industry in general is just very last minute. And it's just because you work with 90% creative people. Like it's awesome, but organization is tough. It's even tough for me. I have to work at it. Like I am that creative person. So my team, there's literally...
Are you a perfectionist too?
Very much so, but when you start to do like a lot of things, especially like social media and that, like I'm a very polished person, and so sometimes they're like, "Oh, we just like need an informal look." I'm like, "Well, that's informal to me," but it's like, you know. So sometimes I have to like correct myself and be like, okay, this is what this concept is.
Right. That's when you need to go look up a Gary Vee video and say, he'll just tell you to post it. And then you'll be like, okay, I'll post it.
I'm getting better at it. I promise you. Like I'm getting better, but that is one of the things. Like it's even hard. Like it's hard for me to post myself. I don't know why, but
the eyebrows always raising, right?
They're like, now we know she's pissed. But no, I don't know why. But I'm like, I can post about anyone else all day long, 5 times. I can promote them. Promoting myself is, something in my brand, but I get so passionate about it. So,
right.
I'm like,
so you're talking about the culinary CMO, and the marketing, you could talk about this for yourself or other people you work with. What's your number one tip for marketing? Give me 3 tips for marketing.
3 tips.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to know what you're selling inside and out. So information and being the expert at what you're selling is number 1. And this could be a steak. It could be the way that mashed potatoes are prepared. It could be the way that a grill works. If you want to talk about a wood-fired grill, I can tell you that it has to be started at 1 p.m. and then it has to get up to 900 degrees. So then by the time the guests come in at 4 o'clock, it's at 1200 degrees so it can seal in those juices. And all these different things, but you can use all of those sound bites and 30 different things. But knowing your product inside and out, knowing exactly what goes into the process from A to Z, that's the easiest sales tip, is to be the expert and not a pretend expert, literally know the education of everything you're selling. Number 2 is consistency. You always have to show up. You always have to show up everywhere consistently, and you have to be that person that is reliable, whether it's in sales and social media, anything that you do, you have to be consistent. And then number 3 is just show up everywhere. You literally, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, especially when it comes to marketing and sales, because people consume media so many different ways. So you really have to appear everywhere. If you're a Pinterest mom, maybe if you find a recipe for the most, the best carrot cake, but it will lead you to my restaurant because I posted there. Or if you're just on Instagram all the time, then perfect. Or if you're on TikTok, I need to find you there. Facebook, it's a little bit older of a demographic, but I need you to find my restaurant there too.
Yeah.
So it's, being the expert A through Z consistently and then just showing up everywhere is the secret sauce to sales and marketing.
Oh, sweet. Well, you brought up sales and marketing, right?
Yeah.
Which one's more important, sales or marketing?
Okay, so this would be the most amazing debate. Actually, one of my
I know my answer. I want to hear you.
One of my best friends is a CEO of a huge company, and so she's always like, sales is 100% most important because we call it butts in seats. That's what sales are to us. And so butts in seats. And then so for marketing needs to support sales. Marketing's whole goal is for sales, right? We'll do a brand awareness campaign or something like that. But our main focus always is sales, is the dollar, right? That's what we do. What we do is we love to provide an exceptional experience for our guests, but it really is to exchange our love for being able to make a salary off of it, right?
So you always argue is marketing's first, then sales is second, right?
I do.
It follows, right?
Yes, but operators will always say sales are first. But I agree with both. I don't think there's one magic thing. I think it's almost like an infinity circle, It's in order to get sales, you have to have awareness and marketing. And yes, there are
That's what I would leave it at, right?
Done.
You need the awareness. No, you can talk. But that's literally what I would look at. I'm like, well, they don't know who you are. You could be the best salesperson in the world, but they don't even know who you are because you don't market yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why I always argue marketing is more important.
Or I do think so. But I think that there's restaurants who are like, oh, but we get 10,000 drive-bys a day. I'm like, cool. How many guests do you have?
Yeah.
Do they know, just because you have a sign that says, restaurant here, do they know to come in? Do they know what you offer? Do you know how to do it? How do we do that? And then we go into deep, right? Is it Google ads? Is it geo-targeting? Is it social awareness? Is it showing up at community events? All these different types of things that need to happen. But
what's been the number one driver for you? Is it being involved in the community? Is it posting on social? What?
There's no magic basket.
You
have to do everything, and that's what we do. And I think that's the exhausting
part. You should be the
part.
everything CMO. The everything CMO.
I like that. Everything, everywhere, all the time CMO.
Literally, put that as your phrase. Yeah.
Changing my taglines. All my branding's changing now. But no, I think, and that's the exhausting part of the industry. Not the industry, but marketing nowadays, if I need to sound like an elder, but it's like marketing nowadays, you really do have to show up everywhere. And there's no, I tell everyone and everyone will be like, oh, I had this girl who was doing social media. She left. I was like, cool. What were you doing for like your SEO? What were you doing for your Google enhancements? Reviews are imperative to know.
Yeah.
So it's just like, there's all these different things and it's overwhelming because just the industry, the restaurant industry in itself is overwhelming. So then you put this other side to it. No restaurateur really went into it because they're like, I'm going to be a marketing expert. That's what I'm going to do, right? No, it's like they go in because of their passion and their creativity and their like natural like talent.
100%. Okay, I know we were talking about this. We were talking about this before the podcast even started. We were talking about female entrepreneurs, how they're underfunded, underrepresented, especially in this industry. What would you tell a female entrepreneur that's just wanting to start their journey? Best tip.
Never be underfunded. Never. Don't even. It's a lot of times I'll negotiate contracts like with employees, right? Like if I'm hiring for a restaurant or something like that. And the men always have no problem coming back and being like, I want this. This is XYZ. And again, this is not 100% of everyone, but it's just, and the females will go, well, it's a little less than I thought, but okay, I'll take it. And I was like, no, I've actually told women, no, take the contract back, come back, tell me what you want. And of course, I know like as a business perspective, that's not the best, but it's like, you need to go back. You need to tell me if you're telling me verbally that this isn't what you wanted, you need to put it down on paper and tell me what you want. I may still tell you no, but you need to show up to the table.
Stand on business.
Yeah, it's just business, right? Business is business. And so you have to, a lot of, really quality people and people who understand the industry. The workforce is a little bit different now, right?
Yeah.
Like the younger generations even have a hard time making eye contact, which is insane. But if
I'm locked in, look at me. I'm locked in.
It is though, but but you'll find that, and it's just because they grew up with phones, and so they didn't have to have the communication skills.
And COVID, like you were doing Zooms, and like you didn't have your video on, or just a lot of things.
Yeah, you were just home. You didn't have interactions with people. Like you didn't get to go and walk and run into
skills,
someone. Yeah, like you were kept 6 feet apart. You couldn't talk to people, and so there's just so many things that go into it. But I think that if you're going to show up, especially as a female, never be underfunded ever. And then, it's majority male dominated, but I do see that there's a shift in it. I'm seeing so many more female GMs, so many more director of operations than when I originally got started. Yeah. And so that's just pretty badass to see.
Inspiring.
Yeah, it is, because it's like, male or female, as long as you're a good person and you can do your job, like that's it, we don't need to put labels on it, but I do feel that like females are coming back. Not coming back, but females, okay, take that back. That's like, cut that part out. But like females will continue to make ground in this industry because they're just badasses.
They are.
Yeah.
100%. You're a badass. So what's the number one tip to be a badass female entrepreneur then?
Hustle. It's not, no one's going to hand it to you. You have to go and get it yourself. Like there is nobody who's going to be like, here's your silver platter. Oh, you're pretty. Oh, you're cute. Oh, you're nice. Like none of it. Like as soon as the proof needs to fit the pudding, like you got to hustle. You got to go and do it. If you're really determined, it will come to you. You need to put in the work. There's no shortcuts. None. I can tell you how many 20-hour days I have spent. And people, may or may not believe it, but it's like at 4 a.m. when I'm getting up and my alarm's going off, I'm already 8 hours ahead of you before you probably even wake up. Like,
and you still get your workout in, right?
I still do. I do. I'm in my yoga phase right now. I went back to yoga. Yeah, I did CrossFit for a while. I did heavy weights, and now I'm like super back into yoga. But I like ebb and flow in my workout. So, but I always get it in.
Good. Good. What I was gonna say is, so like you built a lot up to date. What's next for you? Like, what are you looking forward to or expanding to?
I really want to do like more nationwide. I really like Orange County is my home. It always will be. I want to continue to work in restaurants and hotels. I want to get into hotels a lot, putting that out there in the universe. I think that travel is just so huge. I think the younger generation is more untethered. Like they're more, because a lot of us work from home now or do something like that, or they just have to show up in certain times. But I do think that travel is going to make a big way, and kind of like the experience, or like the food experience, travel, that kind of goes hand in hand. So I'd like to get a little bit more into that, but restaurants will always be my soul. Like, I just love it. I can walk into any restaurant. I know exactly, like, I can find the pot sink. I can find, where's your griddle? Like, it's like home to me. So 100%. Everyone has a similar footprint. So I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to double down. I want to. So
you mentioned keep going.
Yeah,
that's the name of the podcast.
See the
pun? So I always ask all my guests, what's the number one thing that keeps you going?
Definitely my family. My kids and my husband are just rad.
Yeah.
So, and just like, I honestly can say I do what I love. And I know, again, I'm like the cheesy tagline, but I just do love it.
I'm from Wisconsin, it works.
See? Cheesehead. But yeah, I love what I do. And that really fuels me. Like being able to work with a chef or an ownership group. And they're like, wow, we saw a difference the second you came in. Yeah. Like that will last me years. Like I bank that. And I'm just like, anytime, I'm doubtful or I'm doing too much or anything like that, it's always like, oh no. And,
Is that what you mean by bank it? You have it stored away in your memory?
Yeah. And I'll pull from my reserves when I need it. Like I literally will just like, oh, I remember that, know that that's what happens. Or I get to go on just like a crazy vacation with my family. And I'm just like, this is it. Like, this is why I do everything. So I do have a good balance. I'm very extreme in everything I do. So I work a lot and I spend a lot of time with my family and I do a lot. So it's always it's not a struggle to balance, but it's always like an extreme balancing act.
Yeah. So like what's your number one tip to have that work-life balance, as some people call it? Because there's a phrase that people say, you can have, hold on, let me think. Don't draw a blank, Keaton. I am drawing a blank. It's called something about life and balance. Okay. Do you work to live or do you live to work? That's what I wanted to
say. I don't know. Both.
Have you ever heard that?
I have, yeah. I don't, is there a right answer to that or a wrong answer? I don't know. Say it again. Do you work to live or do you live to work? I don't think either.
Okay, you don't agree with either. That's fine.
I don't. I take C.
You take C. Option C. Tell us what option C is then.
Love what you do. And love what you do and never work a day in your life. It's one of those things. But
I hear it.
It's my work-life balance. Like they coincide all the time. And I think that's like one of the biggest gifts that I have is because my work knows about my family. My family knows about my work. And like earlier in my career, I was always, like burning the candle at both ends, especially when my kids were young. I was trying to build my way up into this industry. And I never wanted to be like, oh, she had a kid, so she's taking time off. I never wanted to be that person. Right. I should have leaned into it more, but I didn't. I should have been like, yep, 3 months, don't call. But I didn't. Yeah. But it was one of those things where it's like my worlds just collide. Like I don't have a problem being like, oh, I have to pick up my kids from school because they know that I'll work another 20 hours for them after I get school pickup, I've never.
So is that like, what's the definition of being a mamapreneur?
Being a badass. No, it's doing all things. It's not being ashamed of being a mom. Not that anyone would be ashamed of that, but it's not a working mom. Yeah. Not to be ashamed of a working mom. And you hear that a lot.
You've really shifted that probably, right?
Oh, I have fully embraced that now.
So do you believe, here's one for social media. Do you believe in being a traditional wife?
Oh, I'm probably not the person to ask that.
Yeah, no, that's why I did ask.
I'm definitely not the traditional wife. I can tell you that in every level. But if somebody wants to do it, go for it. Yeah. I'm not here to judge anyone. And if you feel that as stay-at-home mom, that's a hard job. Yeah. That is not easy. And so it's one of those things. And if you're a working mom, support the working mom too. Like I'll always support like a stay-at-home mom. I don't think any less of them. It's the hardest job. And so like working moms, there's, you'll hear like little snippets I hear it. I still hear it. And I have no problem calling people out when they say it, but just like, oh, you missed it because you were working. And I'm like, I didn't miss shit. Yeah. For real. You know what I mean? But it's like, you'll hear those little digs that are meant to be really passive aggressive.
Yeah. And what's up with that?
I don't know. Again,
they should get punched.
Easy to be a bitch. It's so easy. It's like, be cool. Be like, oh, I saw when, your daughter did this, and this. It was so rad. And I'd be like, yeah, I saw it too. I loved it. It was so cool. Not like, I saw when she did that. You weren't here. You were working. And it was like, gosh. No, bitch. I know everything my kids are doing.
Two claps. Oh.
I get like that. You probably hit a soft spot, but it's definitely one of those things where it's like, be a stay-at-home mom, be a working mom, like love each other. Like nobody's in competition.
Everybody love everybody.
Yes, and the raddest thing you could do is support everyone.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's really easy just to be a bitch.
Well, how can we support you?
Just continue all this fun stuff. I love getting to see you and getting to talk to you and all the things.
What are your handles as well?
The Culinary CMO on Instagram, pretty much everywhere. So Instagram, YouTube, all that. And yeah, we'll just continue to keep talking. I love to see you. This is so exciting.
100%. Yeah. So we went over why you keep going. I want to know one last thing. Let's do a couple. I got a couple notes for social media too, because I like to clip stuff up.
Clip it up.
Okay. I will say this. What should female entrepreneurs start out? What should female entrepreneurs starting out? What's the number one thing they should do right away?
They need to start. So often.
How do you start?
They need to start. They need to get going. They need to put one foot in front of the other. Very often, women tend to be like perfectionists. Like, well, I don't have it all figured out, so I'm not going to start. Absolutely not. Start. Just like you said, start posting. Just post it. Just get it out there. Just get started. I can't tell you how many times I'll talk to a female entrepreneur, whether she's starting or she just has an idea, and she's like, well, I'll start, next year's my goal. Yeah. Why? Get started now. Get the Instagram handle. Start your Pinterest page. Get your website going.
But is there a certain reason people start? But let me rephrase.
Okay.
What makes you start though? Because people have this fear of I'm going to be on social. I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I don't want to post this. What do you trick yourself into?
No, you have to start. Nobody is born running. Yeah. So you have to you have to crawl. You have to roll over first, then you crawl, then you learn to stand, then you walk. I think everyone, because of this perfectionist kind of persona that everyone sees, nobody starts out in front of the private jet, right? Yeah. You start out scribbling things on notepads. Right. You start out on scribbling napkins, or I did, you start with all these sheets of paper, and it's just okay, then it becomes an idea, and then you start to grow it. So it really, you have to start. And I've said this on so many different channels and podcasts, but it's start. Had I not had that amazing mentor that was start tomorrow, I probably would have continued to kick it down the road, because I had thought about it for a while. Yeah. I was working with all these marketing agencies who knew nothing about restaurants, and I just kept working with them. How stupid am I? I should have just started. And it just literally takes somebody to say, start.
Sweet. Number one business decision you've ever made?
Oh, I think it goes back to the last part. I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I was so, everyone just told me, you have everything, so why would you fuck it up now? Yeah. And I was like, no, this is where my heart is. This is where my passion is. I want to work with different concepts. I want to work with multiple chefs. I want to do all these fun things. And I just started. So you just have to get going. Find your passion. Find what you love. Find what your village will support. And then just keep going and start.
So, I was asking another person on my show, I was like, the number one decision you make in life is finding your partner, but they got to be supportive. So before you got married, did you know that your partner was supportive of you doing what you're doing now?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. He was always super intrigued by it.
Yeah.
So we always laugh because his grandma, his whole family is very strong Italian women. And so who always cooked.
Mamma mia! You see the Italian horn? I'm going to Italy soon.
So it was I swear to you, the second I told him that I had gone to culinary school, I remember exactly, we were at Hennessy's in Dana Point, and I remember the second I said that, his face lit up and was like, you cook? Oh my gosh, my mom makes this, and da-da-da. Hey. And I was like, cool. That tends to happen when you say, I went to culinary school. They tell you all the amazing dishes they can make or somebody can make. And he just went through the gamut, and I was like, cool. Are we going to talk? Are we, but it was one of those things where he knew exactly what he was getting into when he met me. And I don't think I've changed that much. I don't know. You can ask him. He'll be the next. He'll be like, let me tell you exactly. But no, he knew. And he's actually talked about it to other people while I, and he's just her drive was insane. Right. I just have always been that way.
She's a badass.
110%.
What I was going to say, what has been the biggest lie you've been told that you now know is not a lie and that you've overcome?
Okay, so something that I thought was a lie, but it's actually the truth.
Yeah.
That business is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard. You have to hustle. You have to.
Wait, so somebody told you it's easy?
People make it look easy all the time,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like they make it, oh, just, get this one, online form and everything. Like everything is, nothing is easy, nothing.
Here's another one for social. When you walk into a restaurant, what's the number one thing you see in restaurants that are making mistakes?
Guest service, I think. And especially if your servers don't know what they're selling, it drives me absolutely insane. Like, I know that the menu
eyebrow
is
goes up. Yeah.
Gotta keep it down. More Botox. But the menu, and again, this goes with not being the communication skill, not skills, but communication echelon or threshold has been lowered from back in the day. Usually you would have to greet a table and, hi, how are you? My name is so-and-so, welcome, Didn't need to be like Fridays with the flair, but you had to be approachable to a table. Now I think there's just here's your menu, what would you like? And then they're looking down at their pads or their their ordering thing, but it's to be able to tell you about the filet mignon that you're ordering, or the coffee encrusted New York steak, or the chicken and waffles, or to be able to kind of tell that story of each menu item is really powerful. And I think that the guest service and guest experience is the biggest mistake that I see restaurants do, just because it's I should be, when I walk through the door, people are going out less because of the economy and that type of stuff. So what the trend is now within restaurants is to go back to the original guest experience. Hi, how are you? Welcome back, Keaton. Great to see you. Is your mom going to join us tonight? Those types of things that just make you feel okay, yeah, I'm eating at my breakfast counter, know? It's those things need to return, and that's the biggest mistake I see that people.
I agree with you 100%.
They're not.
Because I literally I have some friends that are servers, and I've witnessed servers dude, we're gonna tip you based on how good you treat us.
100%.
And they don't the servers don't get it. They want to have an attitude, especially in Southern California. I'm from the Midwest. I can tell the difference. Night and
we
day.
don't know where these people came from. It's crazy.
No, there's good people out here too, but
there are. Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
What do you want Cerie's legacy to be?
Ooh, a good mom first and foremost, and then okay, a good mom first and foremost, and okay. So can they be two? Can I have two?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
So definitely to be the most amazing mom I can be, and then second would be to have made an impact in the industry. Really, it's some impact in some way to be able to facilitate restaurants in whatever way that I can would be the legacy that I want to leave behind.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. I got to stand up and give you a hug.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.